there, Cancer. It's really amazing how often the Death, Devil, and Tower cards showed up in these readings in July. And now you received the Devil and the Death card. Now don't feel bad. I think it was Sagittarius got 2 Death cards and the Devil card. And now another prominent feature of these readings is a really negative card paired up with a really positive card. And for some weird reason, they seem to counterbalance each other into harmony. It's like an acceptance of defeat and victory at the same time. Now your cards for the past, you received the 2 of Swords and the 10 of Swords. Swords can be our harsh teachers, and this isn't an easy one. The 10 of Swords is about being stabbed in the back, betrayed, even abused, and this could be by words because sword is air, words and communication. Whatever it was, there was some heavy momentum that brought you to a crash and burn point. I would expect that there'd been some pain, loss, some ending of some sort, but you have to really believe it's more of a release than an ending. This card is saying the worst is over. You came to an end of the road where there's no return, because you found out that any of your coping mechanisms were direly ineffective, and you were in an overwhelming situation that you just had to let it go. And with it being 10, it is an ending and new beginning card. This is one of those where the darkest hour brings you into the sunlight, and in reality, in your reading, you have 2 sun cards, so yes, it is. You're going from the dark to light, to the enlightenment. Now, the 2 of Swords is telling you it's time to make a decision, but there's equal and opposing forces that are making it a very difficult decision. The woman has her arms over her heart chakra, saying that it's a very difficult emotional decision. You're torn between these 2 forces that have paralyzed your heart and mind, and now it's transcended into more like a denial. Maybe you're deceiving yourself, or maybe you're deceiving other people, but it's not okay. The 10 of Swords wasn't okay, and you have to move on and start making some decisions, making some changes. But right now you feel hurt and trapped, and you find yourself in the middle of a dilemma that is seeking a resolution. And I think here too is that you're ignoring some of the blinding truths. But the redeeming feature of all this is it's in your past. And now the cards on the right for the base of your spine for sourcing and urgings. You received the Sun and the 7 of Pentacles. Both very positive cards. Yeah, the Sun is saying that there's a new day dawning. You know, in the sunlight, you're going to see a lot more clarity, understanding. This card does portend success, abundance, joy. Your unconscious inner self is now balancing out with the conscious foreself. And you're sowing some seeds. And things are going to be growing because you received the 7 of Pentacles. And I call this almost a harvest card. You know, it's like having a crop that's almost ripe. But you're in that tenuous time that you really have to be vigilant because something can ruin your crop and you're not going to see the fruits of your labors. You can't go back to the 10 of Swords mode. And really, you can't rescind some of your 2 of Swords decisions. But the Sun card does herald hope and healing. And it shines brightly on truth, ones that probably you haven't faced for a very long time with the 10 of Swords being around. But even though the base of your spine and your unconscious inner self for your sourcing and foundation is feeling pretty good, up above for your pelvic and sacrum for awakening, it could be spiritual awakening, growth of all kinds, and even your sexual prowess is not feeling so good. You received the 5 of Swords and the Devil card. The number 5 in itself means obstacles and challenges. Negative obstacles. You know, it's gotten to the point where the conflicts are just not worth it anymore, and people are throwing their swords down and just walking away. And sometimes the disappointment of defeat becomes a personal disappointment. And Cancers can be very sensitive. Somebody, something has really treated you real cutthroat-like, and maybe it's you to yourself, I don't know, but the devil there is saying, yeah, you're in some type of denial. You're in some extreme reality of doing too much of something, going over the edge. Whatever it is, avarice, just extreme greed, selfishness. Somebody's been displaying some really disruptive desires. There's been a lot of pitfalls in this, and the shadow self, or whoever it is coming out really strong. And they're hiding behind all of this conflict and arguing to make confusion. They're stirring things up into a vortex. I don't think they want resolution. They want to keep you in confusion so that they can manipulate you and keep things in the status quo for their advantage. And if not, and if it's you being the devil, you're not facing some truths in reality. It's time to do a reality check. Now up above, for your solar plexus, for your sensing and feelings, you receive the Knight of Cups and the Six of Wands. Now the Knight of Cups is here to ameliorate some emotional disturbances. He's offering you a cup of opportunities for deeper bonds and more harmonious emotional relationships. And somewhere in the midst of this, you're accepting that, because the Six of Wands is about victory. But normally it's victory in some type of contest or competition. And you're being honored for your prowess and your performance. So just the cards that we've read up to this point are just vacillating. You got the bad Ten of Swords, and then you got the good Sun and the Seven of Pentacles. Then you got the bad Five of Swords and the Devil. And now you have the good Knight of Cups and the Six of Wands. So it kind of feels like you're not sure what to be feeling here. And then you've got some really positive cards for the heart of the matter. You got the Three of Wands and the Sun card again. Now the Three of Wands is about making your goals into a reality. So whatever happened in the past as you went psychically up and down, you've made some plans and now you're putting them into motion. You're still keeping your eye on the prize, and obviously through this you're finding some spiritual enlightenment, some illumination. But for the Sun card, you really have to live a simple life. It boils down to freedom of complexities, honesty, sincerity, and just connect with the joy of living and the delight of being alive. We forget those simple things a lot of times in life. Now the cards on the bottom right for your throat and communicating and teaching, you see the Queen of Pentacles and the Four of Cups. Now the Four of Cups is saying you're digressing. You're not feeling emotionally very good about anything. You don't have a comfort zone anymore. You're contemplating, what are you going to do next? And a cup is being offered to you, but you don't want it right now. Maybe you had too much of one thing, and that's indicated by the Devil card. You're saying, no, I've had too much of that. I don't want it anymore. It's like the spice of life that's lost its zest. There's no pizzazz left. Maybe the variety is the spice of life, but perhaps you had too much variety. You lost sight of a few things in your life, and the Queen of Pentacles is grounding you for that, because she's about pragmatic affairs and getting a grip on reality. When you see queens, they're here to bring understanding and emotional support. And I think you might need it for the cards up above, for your third eye for seeing and envisioning, because you received the Judgment and the Moon card. Judgment is offering you a resurrection, a rebirth, but there's strings attached to it. This has to be a spiritual purging, a cleansing on the celestial and earthly level. There is some type of judgment that's going to be doled out, and it's connected to your past behavior, to your present circumstances. And will you receive rewards or punishments? In order to get your ticket for rebirth, you need to start forgiving yourself and other people, or you're not going to go to the next stage of the spiritual higher self. But there's some clouds over the kingdom because the moon card is saying there's been some deception, secrets. This card is about the unknown and instilling fear of the unknown. Some raw instincts are being exposed, and you might have some runaway imagination that's causing some feral emotions. It boils down to that things aren't what they appear to be. It's a big facade. And this will put you into some kind of anxiety because the cards up above for your crown for knowing and understanding, you receive the Nine of Swords and the Knight of Swords. There it is, the swords again. The harsh teacher. The Nine of Swords is about anxiety, grief, sorrow. Something happened that's keeping you up at night and the gears are spinning in your head. And there might be some remorse, or maybe there's some resentment about how you've been treated, or even how you're treating yourself. A lot of times we can be our own worst enemy. And now things are in confusion again because the Knight of Swords is there and he's blasting in, welding his sword, aggressively ready for any conflict. And hopefully you're getting over the Five of Swords conflict over there and you're awakening. But no, it appears that there's some recklessness still going on and you're not making some good decisions, or you're trying to turn it around and make some. But you know, if you're racing through your life right now and not noticing what you're going past, in a funny way, this card is calling you to action, to slow down and think about what you're doing. Now the future cards, you receive the Hierophant, the Death, the Two of Cups, and the Two of Pentacles. I kept pulling cards to see what was going on with the Hierophant and then the Death, and I got a 2 card for decision, so I pulled another one and you got another card for decision. Now it appears to me the Hierophant is telling you that you have to face up to some truths. The word Hierophant means to show or make known in Latin. And anytime he shows up, somebody is seeking a truth. And in a funny way, it's kind of going along the moon card line where it's saying, yeah, there really is more to life than just the ordinary stuff. There's some deeper understanding that needs to be faced. You know, and don't allow people to lie to you or for you to lie to yourself. But whatever happened, even from the past with the Ten of Swords all the way up to the Hierophant, put you in a transformation because you received the Death card. The Death card comes when it's needed the most. It's time for you to change. Change is not your enemy. You might be the enemy to change, but if you don't, there's going to be loss. And the 2 cards, the Two of Cups and the Two of Pentacles, is saying that it is time to make a decision or decisions. And the Two of Cups is about emotions and love and deeper bonds in your relationships. And the Two of Pentacles is about finances, money, and personal well-being. So you received 3 2 cards. You received the Two of Swords in the past and the Two of Cups and Two of Pentacles in the future. And it really is time to start making some decisions. Put your feet on the ground and start looking at what did happen, what bad things did happen, and how can you fix them and find some resolutions so you can have the rebirth with the Judgment card. And now I pulled a Messages of the Angel card by Doreen Virtue. And you received Archangel Michael. I am with you, giving you the courage to make life changes that will help you work on your divine life purpose. Well, I think the Hierophant's saying that you have a divine life purpose coming up here. And all of it's life changes because it's time to make a decision. And I wish you acceptance, peace, and happiness.